So now that you have somewhat of an understanding of the prevailing global trade system from the last century and how it ended up collapsing, let's talk about the present situation that's unfolding. Probably see some signs of the changes that are about to take place on a global scale. However, this pandemic is only the start of the Great Reset. This sweeping change has very specific goals started long before the current pandemic. And in this video, we're going to talk about what these goals are, how they're being accomplished, and how the end game could completely alter life as we know it. Let's get it. BitSwap is the hottest new way to trade tokens. Crawling all the top decentralized exchanges, BitSwap gets you the very best price and value for your trades. BitSwap is changing the game. Try it now at bitswapdex.io. Welcome to BitBoy Crypto. My name is Ben. Every day I show you how to make money in cryptocurrency. If you like crypto and money, then make sure to hit that subscribe button. And if you want even more behind the scenes action, make sure to check out our Bit Squad YouTube channel. In this video, we will continue our talk about the Great Reset, how the global trade system is changing, and actionable steps that you can take in order to, in the words of Andreas Antonopoulos, Vrexit. In case you missed the last video in this series detailing the fall of the Bretton Woods system, you can check it out here. So, like I said in the last video, after World War II was over, the global economy was in dire straits, war-torn, and economically devastated. Many countries were looking for an economic solution that could lead them out of this devastation and into a situation of economic prosperity. It's interesting to note that each time the idea of sweeping economic reform is presented, it comes immediately following a global black swan event like World War I, World War II, and now this global pandemic. You see, in order for people to be open to change, they need to be broken and looking for a solution. After World War II, the Bretton Woods system was that solution. And as a result of Bretton Woods, the world had a pretty solid economic recovery, or so it seemed at the time. The Bretton Woods system cemented the U.S. as the dominant global economic superpower in the world and established the U.S. dollar as the international reserve currency. This was really good for us, like really good, but perhaps not so good for everybody else. The Bretton Woods system couldn't last forever, and that is for two major reasons. The first is that the fixed exchange rates were in direct opposition to the natural economic law of free market speculation. The second reason, and probably the main reason in general, was that this system made the U.S. the big daddy on the global economic stage. And as we all know, haters gonna hate. I see that every day. A lot of countries were jealous of America's #1 spot, and they would be eager to see us fall from that spot in the future. It's worth noting that even way back in the 1940s when they started the Bretton Woods system, Keynes foresaw this issue. He advocated for a global reserve currency that was outside of any one nation, which is part of the reason why SDRs were originally created. They knew, even back then, that the Bretton Woods system was only a temporary fix. Enter the craziest year ever, 2020. This year, we've seen a lot of crazy stuff. We've seen the BitBoy Crypto channel go to #1. This global pandemic this year, though, has created a lot of proposals and caused a lot of changes to the way of life as we know it. Just like World War II, it has highlighted the weak points in the current financial system and ushered in a new era of money printing like we've never seen before. This new era of money printing and emergency powers being granted to central planners has created the perfect situation needed to set the stage for a new Bretton Woods system. This new system is something the global elites are calling the Great Reset. It's not a conspiracy. The Great Reset is a proposal by the World Economic Forum, or WEF, to sustainably rebuild the global economy in the aftermath of this global pandemic. According to Klaus Schwab, the founder and executive chairman of the WEF and real-life caricature of a Bond villain, he says the pandemic represents a rare but narrow window of opportunity to reflect, reimagine, and reset our world. That's scary stuff. The Great Reset has three important goals. The first goal is to steer the market toward fairer outcomes. To achieve this, the government will need to improve coordination in areas like taxation, regulatory policy, and fiscal policy, as well as upgrade trade arrangements. The goal here is to create the conditions that allow for a stakeholder economy. The second goal is to ensure that all investments help to advance the achievement of shared goals like equality and sustainability. They matter so much in economics. To achieve this, many governments should use their large-scale spending programs to this aim. Sounds a lot like communism, if you ask me, which we've already tested several times throughout the world, and no, it does not work. I don't know how these people can't get this through their heads. But the third goal is to harness the innovations of the fourth industrial revolution in order to support the public good. This should be especially focused on addressing health and social challenges. In the Great Reset, the IMF will give central banks the SDR. The central banks would then have their own digital currency and lend directly to the private sector through using CBDCs, or central bank digital currencies. To learn more about the plan for a cashless society in the future, check out this video I did here. Also, if you want to find out how the government has been secretly planning to make a digital currency for a while, you can check out this video I did here. But back to the Great Reset. Instead of relying on private banks, private sector corporations will be able to borrow digital currency directly from central banks. The Great Reset will bypass the Wall Street banks of the world and allow for a direct lending system, straight from central banks into the private sector. It's kind of like centralized, decentralized finance. Currently, countries are incentivized to help out other countries in the global economy. Countries outside of America make a lot of our stuff, then buy a lot of our debt. They keep interest rates low, and they keep the system going. Incentives are aligned with other countries because of this system of interdependency. However, America is incentivized to consume more than we produce. The people that work at the IMF are not elected. Instead, they're selected by other central planners to perpetuate the bureaucracy of central planning. Do you guys understand what will happen if the IMF moves us to a global reserve SDR? Do you realize what will happen to our standard of living and our freedom if we lose reserve currency status and get knocked out of our top spot as the global dominant force? Which, at this point, is almost inevitable, probably much sooner than later. Given our current fiscal policy, resulting in the USD losing over 10% of its value this year alone, with nonstop money printing on the horizon for the foreseeable future, there appears to be no bottom in sight. If we continue on this path, it will have unimaginable consequences. And the very way of life that we love and take for granted will end as we know it. And God forbid, if communist China is able to infiltrate and control the IMF, as it has with other global organizations like the WHO or the World Health Organization. It will be the Chinese, or even worse, the North Korean way of life for everyone around the world. This is why Bitcoin is so important, guys. It's our only tool to fight against this change. This is why China and the IMF are taking direct shots at Bitcoin, because it provides us with an immutable and consistent rule of law, as well as open and permissionless access to sound money, and they know it. Bitcoin takes the banking power away from these central banks and puts it into the hands of the people who use it as a store of value. But that's it for this video. Scary stuff. Let me know what you guys think. Can Bitcoin save us from this new world financial order? What can we do to continue promoting open access to markets and financial stability? Drop me a comment down below. That's all I got. Be blessed. Good boy out.